via telephone by Mr. Webster Griffin Tarpley, author and historian. Now, Mr. Tarpley, how do you analyze Russia's political role in Syria?
Well, I think it's very interesting that Russia is the country that comes forward with a peace proposal, and that it's coming from Russia. I would say Russia is a country that actually is interested in having a negotiated solution, and I think that's been the common line of Putin and Lavrov since the very beginning. Notice where it's not coming from. It's not coming from the Obama administration, and we know that the dominant figure on Syria now is the so-called ISIS czar, and that is General John Allen, who is a disgraced Marine general. He resigned in disgrace in November of 2012, and he's been running things behind the scenes, and what he does is to bring to bear the influence of Turkey and Qatar, as well as other dubious forces, bring their influence to bear inside the Obama administration. People have seen Senator McCain shooting his mouth off. Well, he's, of course, a Republican in Congress. But inside the State Department, there is now this ISIS czar Allen, and these people don't want a negotiated solution. So therefore, what we see with al-Bara, of course, is a wholly owned puppet. The only question is, has he been bought or has he been rented? Is he being paid by Turkey? Is he being paid by Qatar? Is he being paid by NATO? One way we know that al-Bara gets his money, and this is very interesting, a former member of the German parliament by the name of Todenhofer, who was a Christian Democrat, now a reporter, has spent some time with ISIS in the ISIS-held territories, and Todenhofer reports that the weaponry deployed by ISIS comes from NATO. The weapons go from NATO to the Free Syrian Army, which is essentially what al-Bara is speaking for, more or less, and that the Free Syrian Army, who are notorious thieves and brigands, sell the missiles and other hardware to ISIS. And you remember that Jordanian jet fighter, the U.S. Army denied, the Pentagon denied that that was shot down by a missile. But it would appear that it actually was a missile, and that it was a NATO missile given to the FSA, the Free Syrian Army, and then passed on to ISIS. So that's a very profitable racket. So Bara is interested in keeping that going, and of course he has no freedom. He's told what to do.
We're running short on time. Just really quick, in less than 30 seconds, can you answer this? Many critics say that none of these overseas-based Syrian opposition groups even have the competency, the hierarchy, the organization, or experience of handling political affairs. How will that play into any such talks?
It makes it very difficult. One of the things that we heard from Lavrov when he started this a couple of weeks ago was that he wanted the Syrian opposition to come into one delegation. So you'd have the Free Syrian Army, you'd have Nusra, and then, of course, there's ISIS. And ISIS has generally refused to negotiate. So the first sticking point is, could you ever get them together, or are they simply adventurers who live in hotels in Cairo or Istanbul or Geneva or someplace else, and they simply, this is their profession, to be the puppet spokespersons for a rebellion which is really more centered in ISIS than in themselves.
Thank you for your input, sir. That was Mr. Webster Griffin Tarpley, author and historian, joining us out of Washington.